Oh, we are live. And I've already got a comment up. Let's go, says Luckily 56568. NASCAR season is upon us. 2 races tonight. We're recording this February 12th. Dual races tonight. But it's too soon to talk about dual races because we still need to go through the 2026 season tier list, both from kind of a betting / DraftKings perspective and then just an outlook perspective. Give us an opportunity to talk about some new faces and new places and some new drivers who have some different upside or downside than they did last year. As always, I am joined by the Prince of DFS Army and NASCAR King, Madden Simulation King, PGA King, Taco. It's been a long off season, but it's finally here. Daytona has arrived.
Hell yeah, brother. And we had a great clash. Wonderful clash.
Yeah, very interesting. We had everything. Bowman Gray, snow, rain, sleet,
a Priest win.
Rain tires, Priest first win, plus 7,500 ticket cashed. I think everybody in the DFS Army cashed in the clash last week. So that'll be fun. We've got duels tonight. If you're here for duel-specific information, maybe spin back tonight around 5 p.m. Eastern. We're going to do a full Daytona duel for both of them. We'll do a breakdown. We'll do a deep dive into that race, see if we can make some money. The duels have been somewhat money printers for us the last couple of years. At times, sometimes they're pretty bad, but generally the plate races are pretty good to us.
Yeah, there's some things that you gotta know, and this is when you're gonna get the most casuals of any time of the year. So it's a great time to strike while the iron's hot.
But before we do all that, we already did a 2026 rule changes, kind of prospect changes. If you haven't watched that video, it's somewhere on the DFS Army channel. This is going to be a driver-specific kind of season outlook, picks and predictions type video. We're going to go driver by driver, assign them a tier, and talk about them both from a season NASCAR perspective and also a DFS betting perspective as well. 6 tiers. S tier is going to be champ contender. The new point system, really you need to be going into the chase top 6 or 7 in points. So our S champ, not 6, 7 already, but our champ contender is probably going to be 5, 6, or 7 drivers that have a realistic chance of winning in the new points format. A tier is anybody that's eligible for the chase, probably a walk or a shoe-in to make the chase. B will be those borderline kind of 14th to 24th place drivers. C would be a very big surprise to make it into the chase. D, probably not going to make the chase. And then F, definitely not going to make the chase. There's no winning you're in here. So there has to be some consistency. You're going to have to point your way into the chase and then into the championship.
Yeah, it's so nice. Like, I know the Daytona 500 probably is going to be more chill, but just overall more predictability across the season, as there's no reason for people to do stupid strategies and stay out at the end and gamble. Like, the consistency being rewarded, I think, is something I've been waiting for years with this. I think it helps us out a lot. So I'm excited for the season.
Absolutely. I think it'll be, like we talked about in that first video we did, a complete change of almost driver strategy and archetypes. You're going to see drivers that maybe have a reputation of being overly aggressive, maybe become the opposite and be overly conservative. But we'll see as the season goes on. We'll get into it here. NASCAR has the Pocket Mini Max. I didn't know that. I didn't know, Matt.
Oh, shit.
That's exciting. If that is true, that's pretty cool. But let's get into it. Starting with a part-time driver, Corey Heim. He's running 10 or 12 races this year, I think, in the Cup Series in the 6-7 2311 car.
The new favorite driver of both of my children immediately.
The favorite driver of many. I don't know. I think they got lucky and they reserved the 6-7 number before this craze occurred, but I'm sure that'll be the favorite of many drivers. I don't even know how we can rank Corey Heim because he's not running a full season. But as a driver, I think the outlook for Corey Heim is pretty high. He's probably the best prospect in the sport, save for maybe Connor Zilic, and even, you could argue which one of those guys is the top prospect. But probably not fair to rank Corey Heim, but Corey Heim, as far as part-time drivers go, is not going to be an afterthought this year by any means. He's going to be a guy we play and probably play a lot in those 10 to 12 starts he gets.
I mean, you can see there at Bristol and Kansas, those runs were legitimate. It almost reminds me of Zane Smith when he was making his first spot starts coming from the truck series, where it's just the consistency and safety. I mean, yeah, he got wrecked out a couple times, right? And he had that, he unfortunately didn't make the 500 or whatever off the time. But, I mean, that 6 at Bristol was highly impressive. That's amazing for like a pre-rookie.
Absolutely. Not the actor Corey Heim, funnily enough. But yeah, let's not even rank him. I think we'll have lots of time to talk about Corey Heim. It seems like he's going to be racing in every series across all 3 series, not running full-time in anything, but we're going to have lots of time to talk about Corey Heim. So let's move on to Cody Ware, who will be running full-time for maybe like the 4th or 5th season in a row. Long been an afterthought in this series, but it does appear that Rick Ware is beginning to increase their efforts. They have an alliance this year, I believe, with Richard Childress Racing. Not quite a satellite car, but an alliance nonetheless. Do you expect to see any improvement in performance from Cody Ware in 2026?
Oh yeah, certainly. I think I don't think he's the worst car in the field anymore, which is a bump up for him. But I mean, there's still not many guys he can really catapult here. Him getting the ECR engines, I guess, is nice.
Yeah, I think that'll help. It doesn't seem like this is a switch to Chevrolet for Rick Ware Racing, and they described it as a technical alliance with Richard Childress Racing. We won't really know what that means until the first couple races of the season. But even still, I don't know if we've seen evidence of Cody Ware being held back by equipment. Like, if Cody Ware does have an uptick in equipment, does he have the ability to maximize it? I don't think we've seen evidence of that yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's never beating the Nepo baby allegations. I mean, it kind of is what it is. It's not like he's okay at super speedways, but really we've never seen him like outperform his equipment. Yeah, sure, sometimes he gets lucky and survives races where a bunch of people wreck, but you can see he's pretty consistently heavily like outside the top 25 pretty much every single race.
Yeah. So I don't suspect any reason to get to D tier here. Are we gonna have to drop Cody Ware into F?
Surely he's a back marker, yeah.
Yeah. If the technical alliance is more than we expect it to be, then I think there is some opportunity for him to improve. Mm-hmm. I just don't think we've seen any evidence of that technical alliance being any more than kind of like a on paper type of thing. And then I don't think we've seen evidence of Cody Ware being restricted by equipment. So we move on to Ty Dillon, who is running for Colleague. Colleague very much in flux right now. They're running trucks and spending a lot of money in the truck series to introduce Dodge to the series. But in the Cup series, they continue to drive Chevrolets with AJ Allmendinger and Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon had flashes of brilliance, made the finals in the playoff or the midseason bracket last year. Didn't end up winning it, lost to Ty Gibbs. But Ty Dillon, we've seen flashes of brilliance from him. My concern here, I think Ty Dillon is a capable driver. I just don't know where Colleague sits in terms of equipment right now because they're half Dodge, half Chevrolet. It's hard to say. Yeah,
and I think this might actually end up being the worst team at the end of the year. As nice of a season as Ty Dillon had last year, I think Chevy cuts them off. Not a good look for them.
Yeah, especially there's one thing switching manufacturers, but when you're introducing a new manufacturer into the sport, the last thing you want to do is start feeding technical information to them. So I do fear there will be a gap between what Colleague has versus the other Chevrolet teams. From a DFS perspective, I think there will be opportunities to play Ty Dillon. He doesn't tend to qualify super well. He did hit the optimal, I think, 3 or 4 times last year. So there will be
Speedway is good too.
Yeah, so I think there will be some opportunities to play, but I don't think he is necessarily a guy we're going to see compete for a chase spot this year.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we got to fill this F tier up, and it's probably just going to be Ty Dillon and Cody Ware.
Are we putting him all the way in the F? Like, I don't know if I would consider Ty Dillon a back marker because I do think
his fault. It's just Colleague. I'm really, really bearish on Colleague.
Yeah,
just seems like a bad spot.
So do we go D or do we go F? I don't know. I do think Ty Dillon
F, so Cody Ware has a friend to hang out with. Like, I think it's just those two in F. I don't know. As much as I love Ty Dillon, this is probably going to look more like, your Jermaine Racing Ty Dillon.
I'm going to put him above Cody Ware.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's a nice woman.
We might go back to that, but yeah, I'm with you. It's either D or F, and given the fact that Colleague is probably going to be in flux this year, I think it's okay to put him F tier. But hopefully the switch to Dodge comes to the Cup Series quick, and that'll change everything.
Oh, yeah.
Geek is not producing the show, not answering my text message. Haven't heard from him since the Super Bowl. Maybe we'll get a glimpse of Geek on Sunday for the Daytona 500 show. We will see. Moving on to Riley Herbst in the 2311 car, same as Corey Heim and the same as Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace. We saw him have a pretty underwhelming season in context of the equipment he gets. When Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace are consistently competing for wins, Riley Herbst had an average finish outside of the top 20 last year. A pretty underwhelming season. Do you see any uptick in performance on the horizon for Riley Herbst in 2026?
Yeah, and I think just him being on a good team and with just there being less carnage overall, I think it just helps him. Now, I am in the camp that thinks that Riley Herbst kind of sucks, and he's just a bit of a sponsorship merchant, but, just the fact he's on a good team, 23XI is all settled out. He's definitely not in the F tier.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't think he'll be like 5K all year. I think he'll move up to like the higher sixes as we go on.
I'm 100% with you. Baby Yoda makes a fair point. Heim certainly seems to have a faster track to superstardom than Riley Herbst. But I do think we will see improvement with Riley Herbst. We saw that in the Xfinity Series, and we talk about this a lot. We've never seen somebody make a smooth transition from the Xfinity Series to the Cup Series. And we're going to have to talk about Connor Zilic in a little bit, and he may buck that trend. But we haven't seen anyone, even Ty Gibbs, come into the Cup Series and have success. I think it was expected that Riley Herbst have a pretty down year in 2025, but 2026 is going to be a show me year. He's going to have to see an increase in performance because Corey Heim's coming, whether that's replacing him or adding a fourth charter, which I don't even think 2311 can do. I think you're only allowed to have 3 charters now unless you already have 4. So Riley Herbst is definitely on the hot seat, but I do think the new format helps him a lot. I do think that we'll see him improve over what he did last year. So I'm pretty happy to put him into the D tier. I don't think he'll compete for a chase spot unless we see a remarkable increase in performance. And I just don't think we've seen any evidence that he's capable of that.
Yeah, it's just it seems pretty clear that with this next gen car, it's a lot easier to move up from the truck series than it is the Xfinity series. It takes a lot of adjustment. So, I mean, Herbst sucking last year. We kind of predicted that, at least for the first 3/4 of the season. Showed some flashes at the end there. He isn't completely screwed out there, but I mean, yeah, and definitely D tier.
Another thing that bothers me about Riley Herbst is you've got Bubba Wallace is 2.3, Reddick is 4.5, Heim is 6.7. Why is Herbst not 8.9? Why is he 35? Not a serious organization. For that reason, he's going to be in the D tier. But I do think we'll see a more competitive Riley Herbst this year. Next up, we have Cole Custer. This team switching over to Chevrolet, single car team. Cole Custer ran okay last year, kind of flirted with the top 20 at most times. The problem is, from a DFS perspective, is he pretty consistently qualified about where he ran. I don't think he hit the optimal He hit the optimal
Daytona.
twice last year. Mexico City, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then Daytona. So no intermediate or short track optimals. Cole Custer, I think we kind of have a pretty good idea of what Cole Custer is at this point. He's a good driver. He's a capable driver. I think it's clear that these cars aren't on the level of even Trackhouse or RCR. The switch to Chevrolet may change that, but I would be pretty surprised if a single car team can make an impact like that. I think Cole Custer is a decent driver, but I think this situation as a single car team, I think he would be a long shot at best, and I'm almost tempted to probably put him in the D tier here. I think he'll have some good runs, but I don't know if he's necessarily going to be a contender for the chase at all.
Yeah, he's not like in the very, very back of these fields. And that Mexico City run was legit, but it seemed to be just a one-off because he showed no speed at any other road course outside of that. So
Yeah.
just going to be a guy that randomly pops up like, what is Cole Custer doing in the top 10 every now and again? But for fantasy purposes, I don't even think he qualifies bad enough to really be all that interesting. Definitely D tier, I think.
Yeah. And I think obviously the big question mark there is the switch to Chevrolet, but historically, I don't think we've seen a manufacturer switch provide a big delta in performance immediately.
Yeah.
So I think Cole Custer is probably pretty safe to be in D tier there. Moving on, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Talk about knowing what a driver is. We've had about 10 years of data to digest on Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and the result has been the same for about 10 years in a row. Maybe get a handful of optimal performances, mostly on super speedways. On intermediate tracks, he has flashes of brilliance at times, but just lacks the consistency. And in a season where consistency is going to be so important, it could spell disaster for a guy like Stenhouse.
All right, Ricky Stenhouse has one thing that he's really good at for fantasy purposes, and that's qualifying like shit. So he's going to be valuable as someone you're going to be using all year. But if you're looking at a season-long outlook, I mean that those qualifying efforts don't help him for those actual reasons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, outside of like some super speedway stuff, which now is not going to be his free ticket to the championship. I don't see. There's no way this team makes the championship.
Yeah, I think it's
put on the lower side of D tier, honestly.
Yeah, I'm with you. We see these runs from Stenhouse at times, like Charlotte last year, Texas last year, and then obviously some great runs on super speedways. But when it comes to road courses, a lot of the times outside of the top 30, let alone the top 20. On short tracks, never really inside of the top 20. And with the level of consistency it's going to take, I just don't think that's going to be good enough to make the chase. So let's take.
And his one track type he's good at besides super speedways, the short, steep tracks. We lost a Bristol date. Like we're down to not very many of those left. Like it's just not great.
I think maybe we put him between Cole and Herbst.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems right.
I mean, Herbst I would probably like better than Stenhouse at this point.
All right.
It's also a contract year for him.
I feel like he's just like he's good.
And he's gonna be there forever. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's good enough. He's definitely one of the best 40 stock car drivers in the world. It's just where he falls.
When you're really good at the two tracks that everyone knows, I mean that's good for you long term. Like he'll be fine.
Moving on to slippery Todd Gilliland. Todd Gilliland saw a pretty significant increase in performance last year as he became the top dog over at Front Row after Michael McDowell left for Spire. We saw him be competitive at a lot of intermediates last year, had a really great run in the summer. Pretty solid on super speedways. Obviously his weakness is road courses. Go back to his early days in the truck series and beyond that, he was super competitive and almost known as a short tracker, but that hasn't really translated into the Cup Series yet. But Todd Gilliland definitely seems like a driver on the rise. I just don't know if he can rise fast enough to compete for a top 16 in 26 races, I guess, and make the chase.
I mean, the one thing I would say about Gilliland so far in his career is he's pretty good at DNF avoidance, which in theory would help with this field here, but also these finishes we're seeing of him, all these top 10s, top 15s, if there's going to be less carnage across the board and less free spots to climb up, it might actually kind of hurt a guy like Gilliland. But there's also like, less reason for him to have to go out there and do stupid stuff. So it kind of puts it more on like the speed of front row. And I just don't think front row is there right now, unfortunately. So, I mean, sign me up for Gilliland at all the super speedways. Even at some intermediate tracks, like we saw him run pretty decently, but you're seeing those finishes. If you look, I mean, the average running position is almost never up there with the finish. So he's definitely like a regression candidate, unfortunately, for as far as finishes goes. Like those 11th, 14th places are going to be more like 18th with just less people wrecking overall.
Yeah, and for Todd Gilliland, we've seen pretty steady progression from him, I think. But now, he's not a rookie by any means. He's 25 years old. He's been in the Cup Series for 3 or 4 years at this point. Without a major change of equipment, I don't expect to see a major change in performance. We saw him hit the optimal, 4 times last year. I think that's probably his 2026 outlook as well. Probably not a guy you would expect to see compete for a top 16 and make the chase.
Yeah, I almost want to give him C tier, but maybe like the highest part of D tier.
Yeah, I Chase. Yeah, I mean, is he a long shot for the chase? And
No,
I'm trying to think. I don't think so.
I don't think he can make it.
Yeah, so let's leave him top of D tier and move on to teammate Noah Gragson, who in 2025 had maybe one of the worst seasons in next gen. Contextually, one of the worst series in next gen history. He had some good runs. Charlotte jumps out at me. Had a good run at Darlington. Was okay at Vegas. Terrible on road courses. Had a decent run at COTA, but otherwise was pretty consistently outside of the top 25. And just historically bad on short tracks for whatever reason. Never really been a short track guy.
The thing is unpredictability. There's like nothing he's really good at. I mean, you'll see these random finishes, right? But there's just no consistency there whatsoever. There's no trends of him getting better or worse. It's all over the place. He qualifies like shit, though, so we will be playing him in DFS.
Yeah, hit the optimal, I think, 3 times last year. It's a contract year for him, so he does need He
needs to do something, or he's going to win another Xfinity championship.
Yeah, that's the good news is he's got lots of money behind him, so I don't think he's ever going to be out of a ride. But in a ride that should be somewhat competitive, and he hasn't been able to put competitive performances together, definitely could see a change in scenery for Gragson if he doesn't perform well this season. But to your point, we just haven't seen a trend. It's just it's just data points all over a chart.
Mm-hmm.
And
he has upside, but I pretty much avoided him last year, and I don't regret that. It was a great decision. Just I don't know. It's not even that he's bad. It's just this team is just weird.
Yeah. I think definitely going to put him in the D tier.
Yeah, like the lower part of D tier.
I'm almost tempted to put him here because, like I said, I think he's a good driver. We just haven't seen any consistency. And when you look at his data and look for trends and look for something in the right direction, it's all just points on a chart. There's no consistency. There's nothing.
A lot of mistakes. His pit crew is shit.
I mean, made a huge mistake in qualifying last night and put his hand out the window and got disqualified. So
I thought it was Joey Logano.
I think that's a fair place. I think if there's any upside to Gragson, it comes from his personal performance, because I don't even think he's getting the most out of these cars right now. But you can see it. I mean, Charlotte was a great run. Yeah. He's okay at super speedways. He's okay at some intermediate tracks, but needs to make a pretty significant increase in his short track performance. But that's also a front row thing. They weren't very good at short tracks. So.
Well, he's clearly car 3 at front row.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Moving on to the last of the front row, and probably the one with the most upside.
This is car 1, not Gilliland.
Definitely had the best season of all the front row guys last year. That's Zane Smith. Hit the optimal 6 times in 2025. Had really super strong runs on intermediate tracks. Again, the kind of front row short track bug got him, but he did have a good run at Phoenix and Richmond. But yeah, I think the Zane Smith upside as far as front row goes is the most appealing, and probably the one that's going to lead the charge if front row is able to compete for a chase spot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess outside of like shorter tracks, you can kind of do it all. Intermediate wise, like he had like real legitimate speed. Some of these average running positions are like really good at like the speed based tracks. Definitely the most impressive of the front row cars. Really, just great at avoiding wrecks too. I think that will help him a lot this season. Yeah, there won't be as many free spots to get, but points wise, like he's probably the first C tier on this list that they're running into for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I think he
just finishes like every race almost.
Yeah, super consistent, not a ton of DNFs, and rapidly improving. Like his 2025 compared to his 2024, huge jump up. If he takes a jump that big, then he will easily be competing for a chase spot. Big if, but yeah, I think there's a lot of optimism around Zane Smith in 2026.
And we know he's good from the truck series. Like he's really good.
Yeah, very talented. And you can see it last year from his finishes, like pretty obviously outperformed his teammates last year in the same gear. That's usually a pretty telltale sign of where talent lies. So yeah, a lot of optimism when it comes to Zane Smith. As we move on to Daniel Suarez, a new face and a new place. He's taking over the number 7 car for Justin Haley. Decent equipment. We've seen Carson Hocevar have race-winning pace, Inspire gear. We've seen Michael McDowell, particularly on road courses, but at other times have pretty race-winning pace. We talked about this in the season preview video. This feels like a lateral move for Daniel Suarez. I don't think there's a big difference in Trackhouse and Spire right now. It's just a matter of how quickly can Daniel Suarez get acclimated to the Spire culture and all that. Had a lot of run-ins in the Clash, already off to a bad start, but we did see him have some decent runs. He was up front at the Clash. He was okay on intermediate tracks last year, struggled on short tracks, but a good road course racer, a decent super speedway, solid all around.
Yeah, and he's got his certain tracks he's really good at. I think Atlanta. The thing with Suarez is a lot of this data it's going to be a little bit misleading just because after like a third of the way through the season, he was a dead duck. Everyone knew his ride was going to Zilich. He was getting phased out. So even then, he still ended up overperforming in a few spots. You know, he's got his spots where he's going to be good. Mexico City, I guess. Some road courses he can hang. With Spire gear, and Spire is a team that's on the up and up, and again, like a lateral move, like you said, potentially here might take a little bit of adjusting, getting used to. We've seen Haley in this car have like some legitimate, like almost top 5 runs in intermediate track. So I would kind of expect a bit more of the same here for Suarez. Does he get a win? Maybe like steals another Atlanta or something. I don't think we're talking like a win for Suarez here yet. I don't think he gets one, but he'll probably be fine.
Yeah, I'm tempted to put him in C tier. I think it's a long shot to see him make the chase, but again, he's kind of one of those guys we know what to expect. And if we anticipate this being a lateral move, I kind of expect what he's been doing over the last couple of years, which is, kind of 20th to 25th. Maybe not, and without winning in, I think his playoff hopes are pretty long. So I think we put him in C tier. I think we can put. Do you put him above Zane Smith?
Not over Zane.
I think there's more upside with Zane Smith. I think there's more question marks. Like I said, we kind of know what we've got with Suarez. So let's leave him there in the C tier as we move on to Michael McDowell in the teammate number 71 car, I believe. Yeah, number 71 car. Saw flashes from him last year, especially on short tracks. Had a lot of success. Had some success on intermediates, but a really good road course racer.
You're gonna basically never use him or in DFS because he overqualifies constantly.
Yeah, he's especially on short tracks. You look at his short track qualifying. Pretty impressive. Road course, pretty impressive. won the pole at Talladega. Great qualifier, but I don't want to say consistent because they had a lot of failures last year, but I don't necessarily think that's Michael McDowell's fault. That was more of an equipment thing. Michael McDowell doesn't tend to make a ton of mistakes. So in a season-long format where points are at a premium, I do think Michael McDowell gets a little better. And I think Michael McDowell could have a pretty solid year.
Yeah. I mean, just what we've seen from Hocevar says a lot about that team's upside. Like, Spire is, again, a team that has a lot of money, growing, just getting faster overall, getting a better team around them. Like, McDowell, I think he's probably the first person in this video that has a chance for a win, just like a road course, like a real chance. I mean, I guess you could say Suarez at Atlanta or whatever, but it's like an actual, like, real non-super speedway win, I think is probably possible for McDowell. Not likely, but possible.
Probably I think the nice thing about McDowell too, on a season-long format, for a lot of these guys, especially these guys we're talking about who are kind of lower on the odds board, road courses are a huge issue, and they're going to have to use all their mulligans, of which you probably only get 3 or 4 in a season-long format on road courses because they're just not competitive. McDowell's strong on road courses, so he gets mulligans. He gets bonus mulligans on intermediates and short tracks because he's probably going to run fairly good on road courses. And I think we'll even see him run better than usual because he had to make big strategy calls on road courses last year to compete with SVG, to compete with the other guys who had stronger equipment. He doesn't have to do that anymore. He doesn't need to win these races. He can just run top 5, and that's a good points day. So there's part of me in the back of my head that could talk myself into putting Michael McDowell B tier. I think that's a little much, but I definitely want to put him at the top of C tier.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely like the definition of a long shot where it's possible.
Yeah.
Right? He has the skill set, and he may sneak a win, but it's really just the fact that he's good at all the different types of tracks. Like, he doesn't have any one that he really struggles at.
Yeah, absolutely. And that the fact that he qualifies so well is going to be a huge, huge
for
thing.
Him, bad for us.
Absolutely. But did hit the optimal 4 times last year, or 5 times last year, which is pretty impressive. As we move on to AJ Allmendinger, and we're going to have to step back to when we talked about Ty Dillon, because the big question here is what colleague racing is getting from Chevrolet and how competitive that equipment's going to be. Huge question mark. But with that in mind, AJ Allmendinger had some really, really good runs last year, and at times had borderline race winning pace on intermediate tracks. Charlotte jumps out. He's always really good at Homestead. He was competitive at Las Vegas last year, and obviously a great road course racer, a very competent super speedway racer. His weakness is probably short tracks in the Cup Series for sure. But, we can talk about all that, but it really just comes down to what are these cars going to be capable of in 2026?
And they kneecapped him by taking out his best track, the Roval.
Yeah.
That sucks. But yeah, those top 5s at the intermediate tracks, that was like legit. And oddly enough, those are the same races where the legacy cars were randomly like really fast running top 5. So I'm not really sure what to make of all that. I don't see that happening this season at all. It's definitely going to be a step down for Mr. Allmendinger. Almost tempted to put him like at the top of D tier.
I was thinking the same
D tier. Yeah, because it's going to be a big regression year. It's again, like Ty Dillon, it's not really his fault. It's just colleague is going to get cut off, and it's not going to be good when they get cut off.
Yeah, I think that's the concern. In all things equal, if this was a normal colleague year, or you put Allmendinger in a Spire car or a Trackhouse car, I think we're talking about him up in B or C. But just situationally, where colleague is right now, I think he's a D tier. The good news is for AJ Allmendinger, his colleague is 100% committed to him. So as they transition into the Dodge and the Cup Series, whether that's in 27 or 28, I think AJ Allmendinger is a part of that story. He's going to get another really solid opportunity to run well. I just don't think it's going to be this year.
Yep.
So we move on to AD, Austin Dillon, RCR. two-car team with Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch won the pole for the Daytona 500 in a shocking kind of turn of events. I looked at betting on Kyle Busch to win the pole yesterday, and he was 21-1 plus 2,000. I was like, that's not enough. I'm not betting on him.
It wasn't enough.
Evidently,
you made the right call.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where that speed came from. I don't know if NASCAR wanted to give a little gift to RCR after.
It was his first ever pole for the 500.
At Daytona. Yeah, that's crazy.
Ever.
And kind of out of nowhere. Anyway, we'll talk about Kyle Busch here in a second. For now, and we talk about guys who we kind of know what to expect. Boy, do we know what to expect from Austin Dillon. A super capable driver, a super solid driver, but just not a dominating driver, not a guy who you kind of look and be like, well, Austin Dillon's running well today. He's always just kind of running, 15th to 25th. Doesn't really have a specialty other than Richmond.
Yeah, I was about to say two straight Richmond wins. The big problem is in this new format, you can't have weak spots, and he has two huge weak spots, including the worst weak spot you could possibly have, intermediate tracks.
Yeah, hasn't been good on intermediate tracks. The question is that an RCR problem or an Austin Dillon problem? And I think the answer lies somewhere in the middle. However, other than Chevrolet getting the new body style, which may help RCR versus other manufacturers, I don't know if they've made significant strides when it comes to competing with Hendrick and even competing with Trackhouse in some ways. So I don't see any reason to see a significant bump in car performance from RCR this year, other than whatever the new body style gives them. So I don't know if you can expect to see Austin Dillon make a huge leap in performance.
I mean, I think Kyle Busch's performance is evidence that this is sort of an RCR issue, because if it was just Austin Dillon, he would just finish 17th every single race, no matter what. Everything else is dependent on how good his car is, really.
Yeah. And I think the performance issue on intermediate tracks is obviously going to hurt him, and all the road courses are kind of mulligans for him. So
yeah, I mean, unless he qualifies like last year, really only caring about him at the short flat tracks, and that's it.
Yeah, and if they can translate that Richmond success to other short flat tracks, then we can start to talk about, putting together a season that's capable of making the playoffs. I think we got to put him C tier.
Yeah, just because he's gonna win at Richmond,
or he's the first driver we're talking about that's gonna have good runs. You see it here, like pretty consistently in the top 10 on all short flat tracks. Really good at super speedways.
I just hate his intermediate track form, because the only win he got, or the only top 10 he got, was at Texas, which is Texas.
Yeah.
So let's throw that out.
And then all the other ones are like outside of the top 20 when you're kind of in like B tier equipment.
Yeah.
It's got to be better than that. I think we can put him above Suarez.
Yeah.
And we probably need to put him above Zane, because there is race winning upside.
Not. Absolutely not.
You don't think?
I mean, he's got race winning upside, but like Zane runs so. I think Zane's going to improve also, is the thing.
Yeah, that's fair. So let's jump right there.
Who he is. He's never improving. He's running 17th forever.
Yeah, I think that any improvement we see in Austin Dillon is going to be in equipment improvement, and I just haven't seen evidence of that for RCR this year. Moving on to Eric Jones, talking about flashes of brilliance at times. Probably was the fastest car at Darlington last year, randomly, along with JHN.
Yeah, Legacy figured it out in the intermediate track. They look at the average running position, running in the top 10 at Nashville and Darlington. Like, that is in what is like C or D tier equipment. At least what we thought was C or D tier equipment. They just figured out the package big time.
Yeah, absolutely. A good super speedway driver as well. Not super great on road courses, though he has shown an ability to run inside the top 15, and short track was a weakness of Legacy altogether. But Eric Jones is a very experienced driver, and if avoiding crashes, avoiding DNFs, grinding out top 15s is the story to success this season, and we believe that Legacy is improving year to year to year. I think Eric Jones is the first guy we can start to talk about, the top of C tier or the bottom of B tier.
Yeah, because I think about it, he's just a much better version of Austin Dillon, right? He's got two weak spots, but the weak spots are, tracks we go to less often. He's quite good at the intermediate tracks, which is terrific. He's got his track he always has the chance to win at. that we go to twice, Darlington instead of Richmond, where we only go once. It's a good spot. Although the Darlington getting switched to the short track package with the new horsepower package. I don't know if that'll affect him very much. I think it's still sort of like just a driver skill track. So
yeah,
just like a much better version of Austin Dillon. So I'd put him either at probably the very, very top of C tier, because I don't think he's borderline. I wouldn't put him there yet.
Yeah, and maybe we'll reevaluate once we go on and we start to see what these top tiers look like. But yeah, I think top of C is the right place to put him.
Yep.
Probably a good time to pause and answer this question from Baby Yoda. Do you guys think the races in general will be more tame and a little less chaotic considering the new points format? If so, does that factor in your tiers? I do think they will be less chaotic in nature, and I do think we will see some different kind of driver archetypes develop. I don't think that's going to be super predictable. I think a lot of the narrative has been, Chase Elliott is suddenly the favorite for the championship because he's been so consistent for so long. And I think that's true, but he's been consistent in a field of drivers that hasn't been attempting to be consistent. They've been attempting to win.
I think it helps the consistent good drivers in good equipment, and the drivers in the lower tier equipment, like your Todd Gillilands, for example, who are consistent, don't really wreck. I think it actually hurts those guys because there are going to be way more guys finishing races now.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to consider, I don't think we'll see less yellow flags or anything like that. I think chaos in terms of wrecking and driver incidents, that's just going to happen. I don't think we'll see.
It's just less like staying out and stupid shit like that.
I think that's the big difference, is when the caution comes out with 40 or 30 laps to go and you see everybody do the opposite of what the leader does or give up a second place running spot for a 10% chance to maybe win the race. I think that goes away. So I think we'll see less chaos towards the end of races. But Kyle Busch made a really great point when Bob Pockrass or somebody asked him a similar question, is, do you think we'll see less chaos? And Kyle Busch said, like, for these young drivers, this is all they've ever known. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a format thing. It's a I don't know, culture thing isn't the right word, but it's just how they've raced their whole life. It's the only way they know how to race. So
I think you're right, honestly. Like, a lot of the sim kids are not as scared of crashing as the older generations. They were born after Dale died. I mean,
yeah, so
we'll send it.
So I think it's a good question. I think for sure we'll see less chaos towards the end of races and less kind of like, Denny Hamlin's led every lap today, so let's just do the opposite and make sure he doesn't win to give one of us a chance to win. I just don't think you can do that, because you're not going to have unlimited mulligans. If you're want a serious shot at winning the championship, you can only have 4 or 5 bad races in the regular season, and that's probably even too many. So consistency is just at a premium.
Yep.
So Eric Jones, who do we go to next? Teammate Jean Hunter Nemechek.
We can see what's fast right alongside Jones in the intermediate tracks, like same tracks and everything. So
yeah, and this John Hunter Nemechek's a good driver. He's run exactly where he should run in just about every equipment he's ever been in. Obviously, we talk about that transition from Xfinity to Cup Series. He struggled with that, but he seemed to recover a little bit last year, be much more in line with Eric Jones. Road courses are a bit more of a mulligan kind of grenade type track for him. He's not super competitive on road courses, or hasn't been yet. And I think he wasn't able to run with Eric Jones on short tracks. Eric Jones was able to make the best of a bad situation on short tracks. I don't think we saw John Hunter do that. So unless we expect John Hunter to be more competitive on short tracks this year, I think we're putting him kind of a few notches below Eric Jones for sure.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the Darlington either. Although I guess Daytona's is Darlington damn near.
Yeah, I mean the highest average running position at Daytona, or average finishing position at Daytona in the next year. Yeah. So I think he's definitely a chase long shot. I wouldn't put him in D tier, because you've got to respect the massive increase in performance last year, as well as it does appear that Legacy is improving. They're getting more Toyota help. But I think he's probably down here. Would you put him above Zane Smith? Probably not.
I was going to say put him right between Zane and Austin Dillon.
Yeah.
Zane's just a touch more consistent in a good way.
But a lot of upside too.
Nemechek's going to have a little more upside. It's just he has more downside and isn't as good at short tracks.
Now we move on to probably the most confusing person when it comes to putting somebody on this list, because you see all this red in these tracks, and then you scroll down and see a perfect chart, literally optimal lineup in all road courses last year, won all but one of them in dominating fashion, not even close, like seconds delta on road courses. But we did see hints of improvement on ovals, in particularly on short flat tracks, which is where these bottom tier drivers tend to struggle. I think because he's going to win 4 or 5 road courses. If he can just run okay on short tracks, on the tracks that these other drivers aren't going to run super well on, I think we can start to talk about Shane Van Gisbergen as B tier.
And I think like his skill set is not bad for like some short flat tracks, like Martinsville in particular. Road course guys tend to overperform there because just the braking, all that matters. Look at the average running position at intermediate tracks, just steady improvement.
Yeah, from the start of the year to the end of the year, this is in order. A +10 really average position, running position. We saw him run really well at Kansas in that first round of the chase. Super speedways are what they are. Clearly, he's capable. I don't know if he's necessarily comfortable on on super speedways, but I don't think that's a requirement either. I think you can kind of back your way into a top 15 at a super speedway. We know he's going to win a big pile of point on road courses. We know he's improving on short tracks. I think you got to put him B tier.
Yeah, I think I was going to say this might be the first B tier just because of the improvements we're seeing in all the ovals overall. And you're going to get those 4, 5, 6 wins at the road courses. And I think if you did the math on this season, if they ran this season with the points standings, he was like 23rd or something. But also the season this would just go a completely different way.
Yeah, he also started super slow last season. Like he was buried in this points from the start.
We saw in the Xfinity series the same thing. Just like as he returns to tracks, he just gets better at them. So I would not be shocked to see him become like a 10th to 15th place guy at like intermediate tracks and actually end up doing okay points wise, because he's pretty good at avoiding cautions as well.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a reason to be optimistic about SVG, it's exactly what you just said. Look at Las Vegas, average running position 32nd. They return in the fall, +17 on that. Now he's 15th in average running. You look at Kansas, average running position 28th. They come back +4, ends up finishing 10th. Like he improves so much race to race. Yeah, Darlington, 27th to 24th, didn't get to finish, but
he's great at Charlotte. We get to go there twice too.
Yeah, exactly. So you see the improvement with the big pile of points he's going to rack up on road courses. I think he can borderline make the chase.
Yeah,
and he's going to win races, so that's always good. Probably the only person in the field you can confidently say is going to win a couple of races.
We're at our only winner so far in the season.
Yeah, Ryan Preece. And you look at this. I mean, how incredible is that for Ryan Preece, who for so many years was just full-blown backmarker? And the lovely thing about Ryan Preece, and I hope this continues into 2026, is he's a terrible qualifier.
Oh, yeah. No, he's like the pre-qualifying snake draft goat.
Absolutely.
Him and Chastain, just all the, like they're so reliably unreliable on in qualifying.
Yeah, 10 times hit the optimal last year. Super solid on intermediate tracks. Obviously a short track ace. His background is in short track. On short flat tracks, hit the optimal almost every race besides Richmond and Loudon.
It was definitely optimal a couple weeks ago.
Fine on super speedways. Better than you would expect on road courses for a guy who came from the modified series. Man, I'm really optimistic when it comes to Ryan Preece. I think we saw a big increase in performance, both from RFK and from Ryan Preece. For a guy who's 35 years old, he has made some significant improvements. And what's really exciting about Ryan Preece is Ryan Blaney is the long run king. Nobody's better on long runs than Ryan Blaney, and that's been the truth for about 2 years now. Ryan Preece is right behind him. Like, quietly, almost the fastest car at Martinsville towards the end of that race last year. There was a couple instances of that. I'm really optimistic about Ryan Preece.
And I think long run matters a little bit more this season than the season before. And we'll get to Blaney here, but it's good news for the Ryans out there. It's got to be like the tippy top of B tier.
Yeah,
I don't know about A tier yet, but like, man, I think he is due for a little regression finish wise, because he's like the definition of someone who is sopping up all these points from, the guys doing dumb shit and wrecking, and he's amazing at avoiding wrecks. And I think he's definitely the definition of like just borderline chase contender, almost a chase contender, just straight up. But
I'm going to put an asterisk by him with Eric Jones. Once we get everybody late, I want to look at this again, but he's definitely the top of B tier. But you look at like, this is now what I think the key to all of this is the short flat tracks. I mean, intermediates are what they are. Equipment matters so much on intermediates that you almost can't make a difference, or can't make a significant difference over your average performance. But short flat tracks is where you really see driver skill come into play.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very, very good at those. And if he can build a big delta in points on these short flat tracks, as good as or as solid as he is on road courses, man, I think he can finish top 16 in points. But we'll leave him in B tier for now and look at it again.
Yeah, and such a good race manager. Like, he legitimately won that clash just by holding his shit together, letting everyone else make mistakes. And then when it came down to it, he knew exactly where to put it. I mean, as a Welland guy, like, the short flat tracks are always going to be, like, he's always going to be pretty elite at those. And the intermediate track results are really what makes me, like, super bullish on him. Like, that's what he needed.
Yeah, and the issue is we saw a significant improvement in performance last year.
Mm-hmm.
To make the chase, he has to have another significant improvement in performance. Back-to-back.
That's just got to be who he is now.
Yeah, exactly.
If he wants to make the chase, that's just got to be who he is as a driver.
So we'll leave him top of B. Maybe we'll go back and look at him as we move on to Austin Cindric, the first of the premier teams. I guess, the lead horses, Penske, Hendrick, and Joe Gibbs Racing. Austin Cindric, the number 2 car for Penske Racing. Penske, a big question mark, because they kind of hacked the system over the last couple of years. They learned how to be very good at the tracks where they needed to be very good at. Now they need to be very good everywhere. And they certainly have drivers capable of being very good everywhere. But do they have the equipment, the setups, the knowledge to be? Big question mark. We saw Cindric make improvements year to year to year, but he's still not as competitive as his teammates. So where do you see Austin Cindric in 2026? So,
I mean, if you look, it looks like the road courses are his weak spot. He's actually pretty good at road courses. I would say he just had a pretty unlucky draw this year. He does seem to have like a limited ceiling, especially for the equipment that he's in. Like, he's elite at super speedways, right? Like, he's absolutely insane. Later tonight, we'll be smashing him in the duels where he always crushes. Like, the short flat track performance was a bit of an upgrade from seasons past, which is kind of nice to see there, but that's just Penske being good at those. With him actually having to like try all over the place, and Penske having to attempt to give a shit about Dover for the first time ever. Like, we'll see how that goes. Even then, he wasn't really all that close to making the chase last year. He didn't get the Talladega win, right? So, but if it would have been off of this point standings, he would have definitely been the outside looking in. I'd probably put him like bottom B tier, I guess.
Yeah, I think the average running position tells a lot of the story, right? And for intermediate tracks,
let me say real quick. If you look at the the lap by lap, like, of just the races, how they go, like he starts up really high, he falls backwards like every single race.
Yeah, he's a great qualifier, but tends to always kind of end up running 15th, which says a lot about the equipment, I think. I mean, he's in
It's
a
just
top 10
front-loaded.
car. I'm with you. I think we put him bottom of B tier. You'd need to see a significant improvement in performance in what would probably be his 5th year in the series or 4th year in the series.
4th, I think. Yeah. He's kind of the opposite of Blaney. So take some advice from Blaney, my dude. You got to go the other direction.
I will say we'll put him bottom of B tier. I'm almost tempted to put him above Shane.
FPG?
Yeah.
But I don't know where he gets a win. I mean, sure, super speedway, I guess, but it's not like he's not like.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, all things equal, he's got to beat Ryan Blaney on any given track. Yeah, and that's hard to do. If Penske has race winning speed, then you got to imagine Ryan Blaney's the favorite. We did see him. Was it Gateway 2 years ago? Kind of run second to Ryan Blaney, and then Blaney had an issue and he won the race.
Yeah, ran out of fuel.
Yeah, so. I don't know. He's somewhere in here. Let's leave him right here for now. But he does need to improve.
5-6 wins like SVG, so I just put him just a touch below.
Yeah. Is this sport like the ultimate gamble in DFS? There's definitely a lot of variance, but there's more. There's definitely other sports that have more variance.
Like golf and soccer are way more variance.
The frustrating thing about NASCAR is you can get it very right and lose money.
Mm-hmm.
Like in football, if you make a right call, you're going to make some money, but you can get the dominator of a race right. You can get the fastest car right and still end up with nothing. And that's very frustrating. So the variance is very high, but I think there is some skill-based things you can do in NASCAR DFS to give yourself a better.
They're just avoiding dead money is the big thing in NASCAR.
Yeah, absolutely. So we move on from Austin Cindric to Brad Keselowski, walking around with a cane this week after a skiing accident, broke his femur, I think, which is a devastating injury. Probably won't affect him season long. We'll talk about him a little when it comes to duels, because I do think that is a talking point when it comes to duel. Season wise, though, season long, though, this format definitely helps Brad. Brad's a great long run guy, great tire management, car management, race management guy. Hit the optimal, I think 8 times last year, 7 times.
He's had a season without a DNF before. If he really wants to, he's among the best at avoiding wrecks. Last year was not it. He started the season off just with the most ridiculous run of just bad luck. That wasn't even really his fault. Yeah, he had like a 10 race stretch where he actually looked like Cody Ware, just finish wise, but he wasn't running like Cody Ware. So
this is much more
regression candidate. It's just, with him, he's injured, sure, but I mean, what was it like? He won at Pocono with a broken foot before. I mean,
I don't think the injury matters season long. I think maybe for Daytona, Atlanta, we can use it as a talking point. Season long, I don't think it'll matter. To your point, terrible luck at the start of last season. I think this, where I'm highlighting here, is much more Brad Keselowski than this. Very good on short tracks. No real weaknesses other than road courses he's not super good at. He's very good at super speedways, very good at short flat.
Specifically that Iowa tire they brought out, like he was elite. He was the
should have won that race.
Should have won that race 100%. And then they brought it back for a few more races. He was good at those too.
So when it comes to Brad, the problem is Brad's getting older. Mm-hmm. He's not just running his team, he's running the entire RFK organization. Has a lot to say there, a lot to do. Does this change in format and the perceived improvement in RFK, because it does seem like RFK is getting better year over year, is that enough to confidently call Brad Keselowski a chase contender again?
I don't think so. Just because I think Brad is kind of nearing the Kyle Busch point of his career. I think we're gonna see him just slowing down finish wise. Like he's kind of getting up there. I'm not sure. Like he got a few second place finishes, but if someone's gonna be an A tier for me, I've got to be pretty confident they're getting a win this season. Yeah, I'm not super confident he's getting a win.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I think maybe when you put it like that, we put him borderline chase, but very much borderline. Like I think he's gonna compete in the top 20. That's a good question. I think so. I think the consistency that Brad brings, and I think when you talk about will they get a win this season? I think Keselowski has a little bit better chance than Priest because I think there's more bullets in the Keselowski chamber. Like he's going to be good at Iowa. He's going to be good at Richmond.
The super speedways, yeah.
Super speedways is always going to be one of the favorites to win. Even like Bristol, very good at Bristol. Probably should have won Phoenix. Kind of made a mistake and gave the win to Blaney, but that race was weird at the end. He stayed out late. Wasn't super competitive. Anyway, yeah, I think I put him above Priest, at least for now. Moving on, Brad Keselowski to Josh Berry. Won Las Vegas last year, but other than that, had a pretty mediocre season. By all accounts, has the same equipment as Blaney and Logano and Cindric, if not maybe a little step down, but they prepare the car in the same facility. Elite short flat track driver. One of the best short track drivers in the series, in my opinion.
I mean, his problem was he decided to have that Keselowski like horrible run of luck during the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so bad. He lasted like how many races in the playoffs did he last? Like 3 laps.
Well, it was these 3 races, right?
Yeah.
Arlington, Gateway, Kansas, or maybe one other one.
Yeah, it was atrocious.
Yeah, it was bad. Had a very bad run. But always runs good on short flat tracks. This, when we talk about, his bad run in the playoffs, this is much more what we expect from Josh Berry.
Those races were literally him wrecking on lap 2. Like there's nothing to actually be learned there. So, I mean, that Las Vegas race, though, I think that was a big pump fake race. It was just the first race of the season at the intermediate track. We saw a bunch of guys like Austin Cindric show speed there and then never show it again all season.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much what happened with Berry at Vegas. Because Texas, I don't consider a race. Like if someone does well at Texas, I literally don't care.
Yeah. I think another big problem with Berry is he's not going to be competitive on road courses. Like these are all going to be grenade races for him. And
finishes. Look how many mulligans he had last year. Like,
yeah.
Granted, a lot of it, it will regress. But if you regress from 12 mulligans down to 6, it's still bad.
Yeah, and he's got the Penske gear on super speedway, which helps, but didn't necessarily get the finishes. His highlights are definitely intermediates and short tracks, but I just don't know if that's enough.
Yeah, I'd probably put him at the bottom of B tier.
I was thinking the same thing. Needs to see a significant improvement either needs to get elite on short flat tracks in like outrun his equipment and get wins, or improve on either road courses or intermediates.
And figure out road courses too.
Yeah. That takes us to KB, pole sitter.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch, entering his what? He entered this 2004 or 2003, maybe his 22nd or 23rd season.
This is when your goat washed, man. I can't believe that this is Kyle Busch's results.
Yeah, this is crazy to see. Obviously moved away from Joe Gibbs Racing a couple years ago onto RCR, and it's been a rough go since then. Other than that first kind of run, it was whether it's that 22 or 23, he got a couple wins with RCR. But since then,
RIP Auto Club, that was his free win every year, and then once they got rid of it, his win streak ended.
Yeah, obviously it's hard to almost talk about Kyle Busch and sound somewhat intelligent to the sport, because like he doesn't really have any weaknesses. We know he's great on intermediates. We know he's a lead on short tracks. We know he's capable on road courses.
Good at the super speedways too. Just the finishes are absolutely not there.
But yeah, the equipment seems to certainly be holding him back. I think the one bright spot you can say about Kyle Busch, especially last year, very good on road courses. He's always been good on road courses, but he seemed to be able to retain that through the transition to RCR. It's just this average running position on intermediates.
Yeah, that's been RCR's like Achilles heel recently. If you're bad at intermediates, that's just the red flag overall. Like you can't make the chase and be bad at intermediates. It's just not possible. And
so the question becomes, if this is his results in 2025, a year older, a year on, where does the delta in production come from? And I just don't know.
Yeah.
You can't even circle a race on the schedule. Like you talk about A tier needs to be a guy who can win a race. what race would you be confident that Kyle Busch can win this year?
I am absolutely not considering A tier. I'm just thinking, like, does he almost belong in C tier? Probably not, right? No, like
I think it with
probably the
Kyle
bottom
Busch,
of
like
B tier is just like, just the intermediate track performances have been so bad, like ridiculously. But do you think he gets a win this year? Or do you think he stays winless?
I think there's going to be opportunities for him to win races because RCR has this weird way. I mean, we see it with Austin Dillon. They just find something at these weird tracks.
I'd say Dega. I mean, I go to the Dega races all the time. He usually looks really good on the eye test there, and
AFC
like Coda, for example, another spot he's really good at.
Yeah, AFC Angelo. Honestly, if I had to lean one way, I think Kyle Busch slowly improving last year with some bombs thrown in. If he can add consistency, though, I don't mind Kyle in 2026 if the price is right.
But the
I'm
price
with you.
is never right.
That's the problem.
He's at like $8,700 when he's like a $7,300 guy every week. That's like he has so much legacy pricing built in. So for DFS, he's been pretty useless.
Yeah, he's always priced in the 8,000s, which is so frustrating. They're so I don't understand their pricing sometimes because they didn't move Ryan Preece's price all year, and he hit the optimal like 18 times, and Kyle Busch hit the optimal twice, and they kept his price in the 8,000. Anyway, when it comes to Kyle Busch, I think the format will help him, and I think Kyle Busch, who doesn't need to stress out about winning races, will be more competitive. I just don't know if he can carry an RCR car to a playoff spot right now. So I think you have to leave him in the B tier. But I don't know. I think he's down here.
Yeah, I think he's probably better than Barry because
I think maybe right there.
But right about there is perfect.
Which is such a shame. Breaks my heart. I want him up here,
man.
But hopefully we see an improvement in RCR, and that's always the question mark. Like these guys can make improvements, and with RCR, we do see them figure stuff out from time to time. So, where are we? Carson Hocevar next, which is a big question mark. Had a ton. What was it? 6 times in the optimal last year. Had multiple times Nashville, Charlotte. I think a couple races where he was in position to win a race. Even Bristol, I think he had a really good run at. Michigan ran super well, his home track.
Yep.
The issue with Carson
really good at Charlotte. It doesn't show in the finish or anything, but he was really good at Charlotte.
The concern with Carson Hocevar is he has a reputation of being overly aggressive. I think that's slightly overstated. I think you can see it in his finishes. He is capable of finishing well. The road courses are all going to be grenades. That's an issue. And he had a very, very good year where he was competing to win races last year, and it still probably wasn't good enough. So we need to see another significant increase in performance and in a format that is counter to his, I don't know if consistency is something you can attribute to Carson Hocevar. You need to see him change his archetype too. So
it's like maturity on its decision making. He like with Keselowski, for example, or like a couple years ago, like Bubba, like we saw a lot of bad finishes in a row, and it was like just them getting ran into or just horrible luck with engine failures or whatever. These finishes we're seeing from Carson Hocevar is running really well up in the top 10 and then finishes 34th. A lot of these are his own doing. Like he is the problem a lot of the time, but once he gets that maturity, or if someone could just drill into him like, hey, let's be happy with like a 6 tier. I think he's got a ton of upside. He's one of the most talented, like raw talent drivers.
Absolutely. There's no question about that.
He just needs to kind of get over himself and chill out a little bit.
AFC Angelo, he's got some great comments here. Really like Hocevar in DFS. He's the modern day Busch from the 18 days, 200 mile per hour, or in the wall or the garage. High upside guy for sure. I like his style of racing, though. He wants to be up front. Yeah, I think Carson Hocevar is going to be a very good DFS play at times this year because he is, kind of 200 miles per hour or the wall. That's true. When you look at him from a season-long perspective, I'm less optimistic, but I do think we'll see Carson Hocevar have some very, very strong runs this year.
He gets a win.
I do kind of think Carson Hocevar can get a win.
I think he gets a super speedway win. He has the perfect build for he's so good at super speedways.
Yeah, absolutely. And other drivers have said that. Like, he makes unbelievable moves at super speedways. Atlanta last year, the first Atlanta race comes to mind.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable in that race. Nashville, he was, I think Blaney ended up winning that, or Hamlin, but he was definitely a tier below them, but he was very, very competitive. I think his outlook from a DFS perspective is much better than his season-long perspective. I think Carson Hocevar will compete for championships in his career. Signed up for 8 more years at Spire, I think was the contract. He signed a huge contract with Spire a couple days ago. But I don't know.
Last contract.
Yeah, I just don't know if it comes in 2026.
Maybe towards the end he'll get pretty good. It's just, I don't know. I just have to see some maturity out of him.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Probably B tier.
Probably not the bottom of B tier. Probably more towards the top of B tier. Because the upside, like, he's got so much more upside than a lot of these guys. Yeah, probably right around there.
I think that's probably.
For season long, though, I guess you'd have to punish him for.
I think
for the finishes, like, he's gonna need so many mulligans.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of Spire.
Yeah.
I'm not going out with Carson Hocevar can win the championship this year. I don't think that's the goal. You want him to be competing for wins. That's what you want to see out of Carson Hocevar. You don't want to slow him down. So I don't necessarily think Spire looks at Hocevar and says, we're going to go win the chase this year. I think, like, let's get this average running position up. Let's get these finishes up, and let's compete for some wins. And that's probably counterintuitive to a season-long prospect.
Yeah.
I think that's the right place for him.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on, where are we? Bubba Wallace. Probably the first significantly green driver we've come across when it comes to especially his performance on intermediates. Was one of the best on intermediates last year. Won at Indianapolis. Ton of fast laps towards the end of the year. This is what's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
This little run of races on intermediates where he started to become very elite.
Which is weird because the year before, actually the 2 years before that, that's what he looked like at the short flat tracks, and then he kind of flipped it around. And if you're going to be good at any one type of track, intermediate's where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really like
great,
that.
Great at intermediates.
Always great.
Great at super speedways. We know he didn't have a great year on short tracks last year, but we know he's capable.
Mm-hmm.
You look back at his Richmond. Yeah, Richmond, he was great, led a ton of laps. We know he's good at Martinsville. Back in his Truck Series days, he was the best at Martinsville. So we know there's upside there. Improving on road courses, and I think he's good enough on road courses now that these aren't necessarily considered grenades. He doesn't need to take a mulligan every road course. He's capable of running kind of in the top 15, top 10, which I think makes him our first candidate for an A tier.
A tier, yep, absolutely.
I don't think he's a championship contender unless we see a significant increase in performance on a couple different track types. But I think he's a guy that's going to win races this year. I think he's a guy that's going to lead a lot of laps this year. Mm-hmm. And I look at him as kind of like a 7th to 12th place points guy.
Yep, he's firmly in the chase for me. That's right on.
Next, we have Chris Buescher, the cleanest intermediate
cleanest driver
chart I think we're going to see. Yeah. Very good at intermediates, very good on road courses, capable on super speedways, weak point if you had
very good on super speedways.
Yeah. Consistent on super speedways for sure. I think if he has a weak point, it would be the opposite of Ryan Preece. The short flat tracks.
Yeah.
Short flat tracks is definitely where he's going to struggle. But, there's been at times when you look at maybe not necessarily last year, but the year before for sure. And
year before he was actually really good at the short flat tracks. Like he was dominating at Richmond and stuff. Yeah.
In 2023, I think he, was it 23? He won a couple of races.
Yeah. He went on like a tear. He won like 2 out of 3 or something.
Yeah.
And it was like second in the other, and those were at like short tracks.
So yeah, I think, there's no real grenades here. Like road courses are a strength of his. Super speedway consistency is a strength of his. Obviously intermediate, as clean as can be.
He might be one of the candidates that like, if you're asking like, who does this format help the most? Look at this. Yeah. These consistent finishes. I think I like, there's barely any mulligans being really used here. You can kind of afford to be a little shitty at some of the short flat tracks, I guess.
Yeah, I think the thing that'll keep him out of S tier is he doesn't dominate races.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to. So I don't think you can put him S tier, but he certainly should. I think he makes the chase for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, like on the lower end of A tier. Seems about right for old Chris Bushy.
Where is Chris? There he is. Boom. Above Bubba or below? I think
No,
Bubba
definitely
has
below
more
Bubba.
race winning
Yeah.
upside, right?
Bubba has been dominating intermediate tracks. I don't think there's any comparison between the two. I think Bubba was like firmly towards like middle top of A tier. Busher's like the bottom of A tier.
Angelo has some great insight here. So I want to agreed on Bubba. Busher is a guy who almost took a step back last year. I agree. I thought, but the year before he had real upside. I agree with that as well. He's good everywhere if the equipment holds up. Agree across the board. Yeah, I think the next step in evolution for Chris Busher, and I don't know if he's capable of it in RFK gear, is you want to see him consistently in the top 5, leading laps, getting fast laps.
I'd say at the large intermediate tracks, he is a legitimate top 5 guy. Your Michigans, your Poconos, but there just aren't that many of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we need to see a bit of an increase in performance on short flat tracks, which is strange because you look at Brad and you look at Ryan Preece. These are strengths for them, and for him, just doesn't mesh. So weird. Can he compete with SVG on roads? I don't think so.
No.
I think there's a big delta between what SVG is capable of and what Busher's capable of. But if for one reason or another SVG has trouble, Chris Busher immediately becomes a candidate. Like I think he's in the upper tier of road course guys.
Yeah, Busher's just happy to finish like 5th or 8th at all the road courses. He's not really one to push for the lead. He only led like 11 laps on road courses last year, but not many people led at the road courses that weren't named SVG.
Absolutely. So where are we? Alex Bowman comes next. Contract year for Alex Bowman, I believe.
Yeah, this is a do or die.
Massive contract year. Certainly was probably one that was happy to see Hocevar get locked up for the next 8 years, because I think he was probably one of the leading candidates to take his seat in 2027. But apparently that won't happen, and it won't be Zilich either, who's locked up in a contract with Trackhouse. But yeah, huge year for Alex Bowman. Certainly the 4th driver in the Hendrick squad. Had a pretty disappointing 25 for sure.
I mean, look at those first 8 intermediate track races. He had speed in every single one of those, but man, the DNFs killed him. Like, under this point stand, or under this the chase format, he would have been like C tier.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we can ever put a Hendrick driver C tier, but last year was a season that certainly qualified. In theory, he should be good at intermediate tracks. He's got the equipment to do it. The problem is, and we talk about this a lot, we talked about it with Josh Berry, for Alex Bowman to win an intermediate track, he has to beat William Byron. He has to beat Kyle Larson. And that's very, very difficult. That doesn't mean he can't run top 10 in those races, though. He's okay on super speedways. Very good on short tracks. I think that's probably a strength of his, which is weird to say because it certainly wasn't always his strength. And he's good on he's good on road courses. One of the few drivers in the field that can boast a win over SVG on a road course. So I don't know. I just think it's been 2 really down years for Alex Bowman. And we talk about the requirement for an A-tier driver is you're pretty sure they're going to get a win in 26. Can you tell me that you're confident Alex Bowman's going to get a win in 2026?
I worry that if he struggles throughout the course of the year, do you think they give up on him like the last part of the year?
I think his relationship with Ally probably saves him from that.
Yeah.
The word is that Ally is a big fan of Alex Bowman, and that has maybe bought him a couple extra years, but there definitely needs to be a significant improvement in performance, because I do think you talk about guys like Jesse Love, certainly a candidate, Carson Quaffle. There's guys in this lower series that are chomping at the bit. I even think like a guy like Ross Chastain, I think he's track host for life, but if the right opportunity came to get in a Hendrick car, there's a lot of guys gunning for this Alex Bowman seat.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that Homestead run, for example, or Las Vegas Homestead, he started the season so well, and he an average running position of 4th. Like, that was a legitimate smash speed, and then it was just he got so derailed from just not finishing races.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating thing with Bowman. Like, you can see the evidence. Average running position 4th, average running position 7th, average running position 6th.
Stuck behind his teammates.
That's the biggest issue. I think, man,
He's got to be B. He's got to be like the very top of B.
I think he does, because listen,
I don't know where he gets a win.
There's two sides of this coin. In theory, this points format should help him because he doesn't need to go and win and dominate. He just needs to run well. But if he wants to keep his job, he has to do more than just run well.
Yeah.
He has to, if you're in a Hendrick car, you need to be consistently competing for wins. And we haven't seen that from him since like 2023. So yeah, I'm kind of tempted to put him the top of B.
That's perfect.
Yeah. That's a shame to say, but hopefully he can answer the call and we'll see. Because I do like Alex Bowman. I think he's one of the better personalities in the sport. It's just
here I got you.
Hey, look at that. I just think the performance needs to improve, which brings us to talk about performance needs to improve. I think I'm gonna have a pretty contrarian opinion on Ty Gibbs.
Yeah.
But it's been a rough start of the year or start of the career for Ty Gibbs, who came in from the Xfinity Series as hot as ever, was getting the best car in the series. We all kind of expected him to be a contender right away, and we haven't seen that at all. Yeah, we talk about that transition from Xfinity to Cup. Been very difficult. But all that in mind, I think Ty Gibbs is going to have a significant improvement in performance this year for a couple different reasons. We always talk about that 100 race threshold, which he's broken through. It takes 100 races to kind of figure out what a driver's capable of. We know that Ty Gibbs is capable of running up front, being competitive, and winning races. And you see it in his average running position on intermediate tracks, on short, steep tracks. He's elite. Very good on road courses, capable on super speedways. He's capable everywhere, and you can see it in the fast laps. You can see it in the average running position. His problem, and I think there's no better example of this than Watkins Glen either 1 or 2 years. I think it was last year. It's just mental with him. He completely chalks himself when he's not able to run. So I think there's this thing in racing where you're driving along and you feel like you're making progress on the car in front of you, or you feel like the car behind you is making progress on you. And I think for Ty Gibbs' whole career, everything he's ever driven, he's always been the first one. He's been the car that's faster than the car in front of him. And now he's in a position that's so competitive, like the series that's so competitive, he's not always the fastest car. And that, I think, has been a huge learning curve for him. But I think he's getting better at it.
It's like those star quarterbacks that come from a state that's not really known for football, going to college, getting picked up by, like the Ole Miss or something, and then having to deal with the pass rush from like Alabama and not having just not being the best out there and going, oh shit, okay, we in the big leagues now. Oh fuck. A lot of his best finishes. The problem was JGR was just good across the board, and he's finishing behind like Denny Hamlin, for example. I think there are some spots where he could get a win. The road courses, if anything happens to SVG, is one of those guys that can swoop in. And Michigan, he's been getting really close to a Michigan win.
And Bristol and Dover. I think there's a lot of places. And listen, we know he has the equipment. He's arguably got the best car in the series. He's got the best pit crew in the series, or one of the best pit crews. And we know he has the talent. There's no question that Ty Gibbs isn't talented. It's all just a mental thing with him. And if he can, that just comes with.
He just needs one. That's really, it just needs one win.
And it comes, he's not 19 anymore. I think we all think of Ty Gibbs as like an 18, 19-year-old kid. He's 22 or 23 now. Like, he's maturing. He's going to continue to mature. He has to.
12.
He's got no concern about losing his ride. The 54 car is his for as long as he wants it. I think we're going to see Ty Gibbs be very, very competitive this year. Baby Yoda, I think Gibbs definitely proves the company as a whole needs him to win. Yeah, that's another great point. We've seen massive personnel changes at JGR, and the word on the street, and I mean, word in the forum, the word on Twitter is a lot of that is building a team around Ty Gibbs. Denny Hamlin's on the way out. Ty Gibbs is going to become the guy. I think I want to put Ty Gibbs in A tier because I think he's going to win races. I think he's going to make the chase. And I think Ty Gibbs in kind of 26, 27, 28 ascends to that Christopher Bell, Josh Berry, Chase Elliott tier.
Oh, certainly. I think he just needs to get one win, and then the floodgates will be open, and he'll start winning and just doing his thing.
Yeah.
And
we've seen that.
A while.
We've seen that before with drivers. So yeah, I'm putting him in A tier. I know that might be controversial. I know a lot of people are down on Ty Gibbs, but I think everything else is lined up. It's just maturity.
Yeah, he's an asshole, but it's just like Hocevar. Like once he matures, he's gonna be really fucking good.
Yeah. Gibbs even looked strong at the Clash until Chaos broke. That's true. I want to go back to Angelo because he's giving such good comments here. I think this is about Alex Bowman. Desperation is certainly going to be there. He's okay, but almost needs something to happen to at least one of the other Hendrick cars. He's clearly the fourth, and it's almost unwinnable position. Yeah, the fourth car, and credit to William Byron, who very easily could have become kind of the third or fourth tier at Hendrick, but the fourth car at Hendrick is not a fun place to be. It takes a certain personality because you've got to beat the best to be competitive. But I think there still is an expectation of performance when it comes to it, and Alex Bowman hasn't been meeting that expectation. Yeah. But yeah, when it comes to Ty Gibbs, I think this is going to be a big year for Ty Gibbs. I think a couple wins.
Yeah. I'd say maybe one, but then next year, maybe like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think we're going to start to see he's got the longest leash in the series. He's got the best car in the series. It's just going to be a maturity thing, and once he gets that, I think he's on his way. Where were we? Ty Gibbs. We've already talked about Bowman, so we're at Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain, very solid driver across the board. If he had a weakness, man, I don't even know if you can circle a weakness for Ross Chastain. He's just solid everywhere.
Qualifying.
Yeah, qualifying. Saturdays are definitely a weakness for him.
It's great for us, but he's bad at qualifying unless it's a road course.
Hit the optimal 7 times last year. I think we talk about when it comes to championship contenders, you want to see a lot of green in these columns. You want to see guys who consistently dominate races. Chastain doesn't do that, and I don't think it's because Chastain's not capable of doing that. I just don't think Trackhouse is there.
Yeah, he's pushing it, man. He's doing everything he can.
Yeah, and
if he gets the lead, which he just didn't end up with the lead a lot last year, but when he finds his way out to the lead, he's like probably like top 3 at top 2 at blocking, and just holding that lead. We just didn't really see that. We've seen that in years past, but we're not going to see 2022 Trackhouse anytime soon, especially with the focus on Zilich and all that, but. Chastain's going to need some things to break his way.
Yeah, to get a win for sure, I think. But I think, you talk about kind of 23, 24 Ross Chastain that had this hothead kind of over-aggressive personality towards the end of 24 and certainly into 25. He made a concerted effort to change that. And it certainly comes at the right time where now consistency's at a premium. And you see last year, remarkably consistent.
Yeah. He's capable of it.
He's not out there.
Series too.
He's not there dominating and winning races, but he's certainly competing for top 10s pretty consistently. So
he had one hell of a fucking race at Charlotte, but even then he didn't lead the race. He just kind of ended up there at the very end. Yeah. The short track's really impressive to see. Just finish wise, where he's ended up. Yeah, he's got to learn how to qualify a bit better because that's what's really kneecapping him here and keeping him in the teens with a lot of these runs.
Yeah. Angelo, let's hope that doesn't change. He's talking about his qualifying. Chastain is a cheat code in DFS because he always mucks up qualifying. I'm overweight almost every slate on Chastain, consistently finishes top 10, top 5. Yeah. I think if we talk about him from moving him into a serious championship contender, it starts with qualifying. But from a DFS perspective, hopefully that doesn't happen and we can keep smashing him.
He's the snake draft goat for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially pre-qual.
Yeah,
definitely A tier.
Yeah.
I don't.
Right at the bottom, yeah.
Yeah. I think Ty Gibbs.
Equipment is like, there's no comparison here.
Yeah. And he's the only one. You talk about those big 3. There's the big 3, and then, 2311 is almost an extension of Joe Gibbs Racing. Ross Chastain's really the only non-big 3 driver that's going to fit this kind of S and A tier. Who are we at next?
Don't worry, I got you here.
Connor Zilic. It's time to talk about
yeah.
CZ, the biggest question mark in the whole series. Man, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Connor Zilic.
Well, I mean, first off, he's the 10th favorite in championship odds as a rookie. That
crazy.
has never happened before. I don't even need to fact check that. That's never happened.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Denny Hamlin maybe came in with a lot of hype, but I don't think so.
No,
yeah, it's pretty wild to see him come in with as much hype as he is. But we talked about this a couple times already. Talked about it with Herbst. We've talked about it with Ty Gibbs. The transition from Xfinity to Cup is proving to be nearly impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think the line's straight wrong. The championship odd line, so don't get it twisted. It's not,
Absolutely. And I think we look at Connor Zilic and we say, well, yeah, Baby Yoda says it should be a legitimate on road courses at least. I think in theory that's true, but we haven't seen evidence of it.
Yeah, the problem is he's been ran into twice in like his 2 starts, so we don't really know.
Yeah. And we've seen him struggle in the truck series when he doesn't have the best equipment. What was it? The Roval when he ran for Spire? In the truck series?
Yeah, he was getting just beat up by Heim.
Got whooped by Heim, got whooped by Brent Cruz. So, I think obviously had a all-time Xfinity season. I think he benefited a lot from I need to be careful the way I say this because he obviously had a great season. I think Allgaier also had a very below average season, like an uncharacteristically bad season that ended up helping Zilic a lot.
Oh, he was only good at intermediate tracks. Everywhere else, he was just like whatever.
Yeah. You're talking about Allgaier or Zilic?
Allgaier.
Yeah, that's true. So I think he's coming up with a little extra hype, but I do think the long-term prospect of Connor Zilic is, otherworldly. Like,
yeah, I would just
he's an all-time prospect.
I would short rookie season Connor Zilic with the stocks where they are right now.
Yeah, and you gotta the other thing with Connor Zilic,
he's a freaking rookie.
And he's got less than 100 starts in a stock car.
Yeah.
Like last time he had not run a full season in trucks, ran a full season in Xfinity and missed a race or two. And now he's in the Cup series. Like he's very raw, very young. I do think there will be times he's competitive. I would be very surprised to see him win a race this year. And I'd be kind of surprised to see him make the chase, honestly.
I think people will be quick to give him a road course win. I think a hot take I have is that he's not going to get a road course win this year. He will get plenty.
Yeah.
I just don't think he clears SVG yet. Just the experience difference is going to be huge. And even against like the Cup regulars, like the transition from Xfinity to Cup has been the O'Reilly Auto Parts series to Cup has been, very difficult with the next gen car. A scorching hot take if you want to watch him get a win at an oval and not a road course this year.
Yeah, I honestly think it's the same. Like I think his odds to get a win at a road course and his odds to get the win on an oval are the same.
Yeah. Because he was literally good at the Clash. Like I was like, damn, he's running top 3 legit.
Yeah, especially when it started raining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If there's any rain race on the schedule like Martinsville Reigns or something, Connor Zilic instantly jumps to like top 5 for me because it's night and day with like his karting experience.
Yeah. I think the trouble he's going to see or going to find on road courses, I think it'll take a while to get used to the car, the sequential shifter and all those different things. He'll figure it out very quick. But the delta that SVG has in the Cup car is even bigger than the delta he had in the Xfinity car. Like SVG is a full second faster than the field at every road course. Connor Zilic, I don't think is going to come in and make that difference.
Yeah.
So
I'll take a minute.
It'll take some time to catch up. I think he will catch up, and I think he probably passes him eventually, but it would be very surprising to me to see it happen this year. I'm tempted to put Zilic here in the C tier somewhere.
Yeah, that's correct.
Probably
up there, yeah, but
I maybe here, right between McDowell and Zane Smith.
Sure,
something like that.
For a rookie is great. It's just his Vegas price here clearly is quite wrong. But C tier rookie is like unheard of.
Yeah, for sure. And when it comes to career long prospects, he's S tier. He may be the greatest prospect ever in the sport. But yeah, for this season, I'm tempted to put him right here. But yeah, I think by the end of the decade, we're talking about him as one of the best in the series. What do we got next? Joey Logano. Another one that's hard to handicap. Obviously, Penske has been what they were. They kind of hacked the system over the course of the last couple seasons. Now they have to go back to season-long consistency. But as far as Penske driver goes,
look at his super speedway lead laps from last season.
Yeah, crazy. I was looking earlier at his Daytona stats. He's led 200 laps at Daytona races over the course of the last 3 years, or 2 or 3 years, which is double second place Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, and then third place, I guarantee, is Cindric. That's just,
almost certainly.
We'll have to see if Chevy competes now with the new body. But if that's the case, that actually really nerfs Joey Logano. So he's kind of dependent on the Chevy nose not being good. And I mean, they already stuck their nose into the pole position for Daytona. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think Joey is going to be pretty good this year. I think you look at very consistent across the board. Obviously, elite at super speedways, was really good on short flat tracks, as all of Penske kind of was, or at least Blaney and Logano were. Weakness is definitely road courses. At one point in his career, back in the day,
it's more like he just doesn't. His team doesn't plan for it, doesn't really care. They just kind of exist through the road courses because they know they'll get their random win and just make the playoffs that way. It'd be interesting to see if Penske as a whole improves across the board at the road courses and the short steep tracks, which they've just punted before because they're just min-maxing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they will. I think Penske's a very intelligent organization. I think they understand they need to, and there's a lot of money in that organization,
especially now. Yeah.
And here's another thing you need to consider. Like, Joey Logano has been at it since 2008. He's only 34 or 35.
Yeah.
He's not very old. So it's not like we're going to see the age regression that we worry about with some of the other drivers. For me, he's definitely the top we've talked about for sure.
Yeah. For DFS, it's a little bit lower because he's definitely a stronger, like, season long or like actual finishes person than he is for DFS, because DFS, he's like notoriously, not really great at the fast laps, almost never really gets fast laps.
And kind of runs where he starts. Like, he qualifies well and runs well.
Yeah.
So I think
probably contender. Probably not a top contender, probably right on the outside.
Yeah, I think somebody could talk me into him being an S tier, but I think there's still too many question marks around him, so I definitely want to keep him top of A tier.
Yeah. I think it can be better at intermediate tracks because winning Texas doesn't count.
Yeah, definitely needs improvement on intermediates. What was Logano? He hit the optimal 6 times last year. Yeah, 2 times mostly on flat tracks, 2 times on intermediates. But yeah, we'll leave him here. We'll go through the next couple ones and see where we're left with. But yeah, that seems like where he should be. Here. Brings us to Tyler Reddick, who had an uncharacteristically down season last year, but was still competitive at times at some tracks. I think the end of that year got really weird for him with the lawsuit going on. He had some personal issues with his family and his kids and stuff. That seems to all have been resolved.
Yeah, shitted himself in one race.
Yeah, was very sick for a couple races. Yeah. I think Tyler Reddick just had a very bad end to the season, but lawsuit's resolved. He's chartered. He's back in full. And when Tyler Reddick is good, he's one of the best.
Yeah, he was the best driver at intermediate tracks 2 years ago. And look at him this season, or last season. The average running position, fine. It's where he should be, right? It's just the finishes. My God, the finishes were bad. Yeah. And just not leading laps either. So huge downfall on intermediate tracks. We're going to really need to see him step it up again on intermediate tracks if we want to put him up in the S tier. Because right now where it stands, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah. Reddick in a free agent year as well, says Baby Yoda. Nice thing for Reddick. Like, I think Reddick can have a terrible year and he's still going to get a top quality year in 2027. I think he's got so much upside. But yeah, definitely needs to go back to that 23, 24 performance to be considered an S tier guy. A lead on road courses. Before SVG came around, he was the odds-on favorite every road course we went to.
Yeah. And I'll point out that super speedways he's gotten a lot better at. He used to struggle at them. Now he's looking pretty good at most of them.
Yeah, has a dual win, has a Talladega win, I believe, as well. Mm-hmm. His weakness has always been short flat tracks. And that even when he was good in 23 and 24, he still didn't perform super well in short flat tracks.
I think it was him and Buescher with the worst delta on them of all drivers.
So I think that kind of keeps him out of that champ contender. I think it would be surprising to see him enter in the kind of top. But then again, he won the regular season a couple years ago, didn't he?
Well, remember all of last year, we kept saying, why is Reddick like $1,000 more expensive than Wallace when Wallace has been performing just better than Reddick? If we're looking at this tier list here, is he above or below Bubba next year? Like he should be, he should be above him. But realistically, like Bubba at the end of the season was so good at the intermediate tracks when Reddick was just not. Like I almost think you got to put him behind Bubba here, which is crazy. He's the one car in that organization. It's just Bubba is just running better.
Yeah, Bubba definitely has the. I don't know.
He did figure out the intermediate tracks towards the end of the season. Average running position of 5th at Darlington and Las Vegas is really, really good.
And we know that based on what he did in 23 and 24, that he is very good on intermediates.
And the road courses as well.
The road courses, he's elite.
A big difference.
I would give Bubba the advantage on super speedways. I would give Bubba the advantage on short flat tracks. And the other thing to consider is the tracks that Reddick is good at. He's very, very good. He's kind of one of those highline merchants that can make the most out of Homestead, can make the most out of Darlington, even Texas at times, Charlotte, Vegas. So those races where, he's good at, he's very good at. So I think we put him
one spot above Bubba.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he is a positive regression candidate at intermediate tracks. He seems to have kind of figured it out again at the end of the season.
And I think if we see Reddick in form, then he becomes a borderline S tier guy. Mm-hmm. But he just had a down year last year. We need to see him go back. And always a guy that gets a lot of fast laps, a guy that gets a lot of laps led. So a really good DFS play no matter what.
Jumped the gun a touch here, but
no, that's fine. Chase Briscoe, one of the strangest ones to handicap going into 25. Took a little bit to get used to that JGR car, but once he did, oh boy, look at these intermediate finishes.
Dude, hear me out. S tier.
I agree. I'm with you.
S tier.
I agree because I think that's
who he is. He's actually so good at all. Like he's good at everything now, apparently.
Yeah, very good at intermediates and, obviously has JGR power. I think this is what we see from him. Road courses, he's a good road course driver. Not elite by any means, but certainly capable of, these aren't mulligans for him by any means.
No, and the short flat tracks, that's what he's good at. It was actually shocking to see him not be all that great at the short flat tracks. I think that's coming.
Yeah, I think once he kind of figures out the short flat tracks as he did the intermediates, we'll start to see these improve as well. So yeah, I'm comfortable putting Briscoe up in S tier. I think he enters the chase in the top 5 or 6. And once the chase happens, if he's in position, I think he's definitely a legitimate champ contender.
Yeah, and he will need to cut down his DNFs just a bit because looks like 6 mulligans, but it's still not bad compared to some other drivers.
And a lot of those are top loaded too when he was over driving.
Yeah,
you go back
figuring out the car and the new team, new manufacturer.
There was an interview, I think it was on Actions Detrimental towards maybe after his Darlington win or after his Pocono win. What he discovered is he was so used to over driving those SHR cars to get a good finish, and then he goes to JGR and he talked about not even understanding it would stick, how much grip a JGR car had. He didn't know that type of grip existed in a stock car because he had only ever driven SHR gear. So once he figured that out, we saw how elite he could be. So yeah, I'm very comfortable putting him in S tier.
And think back to the Xfinity days. What happened when we put Chase Briscoe in an elite car from a top team? He got like 9 wins.
9 wins. Said he had to win 10, won 9, and got his cup opportunity. So, yeah, I am comfortable putting him in S tier.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to who's next? Probably Bell.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, probably Bell or Elliott.
Chase Elliott.
Here we go.
Chase Elliott is going to be the darling of everybody's eye, and we already kind of talked about him. He's the one that's circled as the guy that stands to gain the most from this format change. But as I said earlier, I think he's so good at being consistent in a field of drivers not trying to be consistent. And I think we'll see some regression there when the whole field is trying to be consistent. But even still, no real weaknesses across the board. I mean, you can speak more intelligently on Chase Elliott than I can. You're a Chase Elliott truther.
Oh, Bill Elliott truther. Let it be known. We're okay with Chase Elliott. You know, he's chill.
But still, in a year where he just had a mediocre kind of consistent year, hit the optimal like 15 times.
Yeah, and I mean the qualifying efforts kind of help with that, but also like he's either won or had legitimate winning opportunities at every type of track.
Yeah, no real weaknesses. Intermediates, probably where you could talk about is I wouldn't even call it a weakness, but he's really good on short flat tracks, really good on road courses, great on super speedways.
It's just no mulligans needed. So I mean, if you just look at his finishes at the intermediate tracks, two finishes worse than 15th, and they were 18th. Like, that's just super solid consistency. Would like to see more wins overall, but I mean, he's definitely the biggest benefactor of this point system, but I don't think it catapults him to the top.
No,
I don't think he's the best chase in the series.
Yeah, that's going to be, we'll have to talk. The one thing I want to mention before that is he also has the issue of all things equal, he's got to beat Larson and Byron.
Yeah, and for DFS, he doesn't get fast laps.
Yeah, and he hasn't been able to do that consistently. So before we talk about the chase ranking, Mr. Sider is back. Welcome back, my friend. There is 2 races tonight, as a matter of fact. So there is 2 slates tonight, and then slates every day until Monday. So welcome back. Get signed up. Maybe a good time to pause before we do our chase discussion and mention DFSArmy.com is all back. We're all back. You get access to all of these tools we've kind of been referencing to, the research station, the cheat sheets. Me and Taco do notes on every single driver for every single cup race. I also do notes for every single truck and Xfinity race. So you get my thoughts and insight into all of those to help build your lineups. You also get access to the domination station. A little later today, we'll do a video on this, how to use it, how to generate lineups. You can generate up to 600 lineups. And if there's pocket minis, then boy, is this going to be a super valuable thing to have. But you also have the cheat sheets. You can go in and see our thoughts on every single driver on every single slate. And you also get access to the research station, which is one of the most valuable tools in all of DFS. If you want access to that, just go to dfsarmy.com/NASCAR. You can get signed up. I think NASCAR 26?
No, it's Daytona 26.
Daytona 26 gets you 20% off any subscription. Great time of year to try it out. We've got 10 races in the next 7 days, I think. By the time we get to Sunday, ton of slates, ton of money to be made. Great time to get involved. Let's go back to the goodness. Mr. Sider, Dear Taco, is there a futures bet or 2 you have your eye on this season? I'm looking for a play I can add to my World Cup ticket.
Oh, I had one. Let me think about it. It was probably like Priest to get a win. It would depend on the line, though. There were some of those. I'd have to look at it. But I can let you know in the Discord later for sure. What about you, Brady? You're more of the sportsbook guy than I am.
Yeah, I'd have to bring up the lines. If you're just talking about a season long,
not make the chase if they offer that, that would be a pretty good one.
I'll bring up the odds at the end of this, and we can look and see if we can find some value based on our tier list. So yeah, check the end of this video or check the Discord, Mr. Sider. So yeah, now we need to figure out where we're going to put Chase. Is it above Chase?
It's below.
Or is it below Chase?
It's below.
I think I agree because I think Chase Briscoe. I would be more shocked to see Chase Briscoe not win races this year than I would be to see Chase Elliott.
I think Briscoe's a top 3 driver this year.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing to talk about. Chase Elliott needs to beat Byron and Larson, and that's a hard thing to do.
And JGR.
I don't look at Briscoe and say, "Oh, he needs to beat Hamlin or he needs to beat Bell." Like
they need to beat him.
Exactly.
The way he's looking.
So I think this is the right order.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's what it is for Chase. But I do think he's going to be a popular kind of talking point all season long, just based on how consistent he is.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got Ryan Blaney.
RB. Ryan Blaney, king of the long run, ton of fast laps, ton of laps led. But again, we kind of got to talk about that Penske thing is they punt some races. Like they need to have a significant improvement at a couple different racetracks to be a championship contender.
And he's got to figure out how to make his engine not explode because that really killed a lot of his momentum early on the season. You can see like Homestead led all those laps, finished 36th. He's consistently qualifying like shit. He's consistently always flying forwards. I think this is going to be an amazing year for him. He's going to have a bunch of optimals like he did last year. I mean, look at the optimal count, like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
10,
7, 8,
11.
9, 11. It looks like 12.
11 optimal.
Something like that. Yeah. Obviously, Saturdays need to improve, but I think I think there's something in their setups that makes qualifying bad in exchange for just elite long run speed, like a ton of fast laps. You look at his fast laps on short tracks and intermediates; those all come from his long run pace.
Yep.
Elite long run pace, elite on short flat tracks, which I think is the biggest differentiator. Very capable on intermediate tracks. Road courses are okay. Not a great road course driver, but I wouldn't consider every road course a mulligan for him. And pretty good on super speedways. I would say the worst of the 3 Penske guys on super speedways, but still very capable. The question is, can he avoid the DNFs?
Mm-hmm. So 9, which is too many, way too many.
And I wouldn't look at those and say, those, it happens. Like there's something in their setup or something that they're doing with their engine to give them such elite long run speed at the, at the cost of reliability.
But those numbers will naturally come down because just with the win you're in system being a thing, like they knew early on they could push it all the way to the limit because they had pretty much unlimited restarts because they were just a top tier team and you knew they would get a win eventually, which they did. They got a few, but it's just the DNF should come down overall. Maybe they'll push it like 95% instead of 99% when trying to find that edge. But still, I mean, we saw it at like the Clash, and he's going to continually just move forward in the top 5 in a lot of these races. And if he just chills out on the wrecks and engine failures, like he's elite, especially at the short flat tracks. He's the guy to beat always.
Yeah. Was in the optimal at the last 4 short flats.
Any long run track. Like the
even,
less cautions are better for him.
Yeah, even on like these kind of like Homestead, Darlington, Nashville, elite flat tracks. So yeah, definitely S tier. I would put him above Elliott.
Yeah.
Do you put him above Briscoe?
I'm thinking about it. It's just they're kind of like the opposite of each other in a way, but they're sort of like equal in my books.
Yeah, it's really close. I think the difference maker for me is we know like Blaney's going to win races this year and probably going to win a couple of them.
Well, Briscoe, I think, will win a handful of races.
Yeah, it's really close, man.
I think I have Briscoe over him because like, if you just get rid of the early part of last season as he was getting used to it, he was like the best driver and it wasn't close.
Yeah.
Like on all track types.
Yeah. All right. Let's put him there for now. Again, we'll look over this at the end too. Is there any drivers dating any big media personalities? No. Do drivers swap ex-wives like NBA guys and MLB pitchers? No, I don't think so. Though there's a NASCAR wife's Reddit that always has some gossip around that stuff. But no, there is no famous
That
significant
kind of
others.
tea ain't for me, man.
I think William Byron attempted to slid into Sabrina Carpenter's DMs and was left unread.
Oh, yeah.
That was the closest we ever got. With that, we should move on to William Byron. Is he next or Christopher Bell?
Probably Bell. Nope,
Byron. Look at that. Perfect timing. Byron, elite everywhere. No weaknesses in his game. Led significant laps at every single track type except road courses, but was very competitive at almost all of the road courses last year. Just has morphed into a premier driver in the series, elite at everything. A lot of upside for William Byron.
There's just one concern I think people will bring up with William Byron, and that is the mid-season slumber. You kind of can't have that anymore. Because look at the last half of his intermediate track finishes. For someone that dominated so hard early in the season, like what happened here?
Yeah, I always thought with Hendrick, like whoever got a couple wins early immediately became the R&D car throughout the summer.
Yeah.
But William Byron always seems to be that. And like it shouldn't be him every year.
Sometimes it's Elliott that just becomes non-existent for a while.
Yeah. So I definitely some consistency issues, especially when the summer months come for William Byron, because that's been 3 years in a row now where we've seen him struggle in the summer. But when he's on, he's the best, among the best driver in the series for sure. Had a great season last year from a DFS perspective, was in the optimal pretty consistently. Great qualifier, great dominator, just a lot to be excited about. Again, the issue with William Byron is he's got to beat Kyle Larson. The good thing about that is Larson makes a lot of mistakes. And I don't think this championship format does Kyle Larson any favors.
Nope.
So with that in mind, I think William Byron is a premier kind of play. You're high on Chase Briscoe, but I think I still put Byron.
Yeah, Byron is kind of like up there with the elite of the elite. And if they kind of bring it across the board, like he's certainly a top 3 or 4 driver for sure. Yeah. And all different types of tracks as well is the thing. Even at the road courses.
Yeah,
I mean he's gonna get a Daytona win probably. He'll always be winning Daytona.
Yeah. So I think he's here. He's going to win races. He's going to dominate races. And when we talk about dominate races, he dominates races. Mm-hmm. You look at Darlington, you look at Charlotte, you look at Martinsville, even Iowa, where Brad Keselowski was a little better, but I think Byron is the best guy we've talked about so far.
Yep.
Bell? Got to be Bell.
Let me see. Absolutely. Mr. Christopher Bell.
See Bell, the pitcher of consistency, not the pitcher of domination and winning, which has been his biggest downside over the course of the last year.
So I guess the format helps him then.
Yeah, I think so. And again, another guy with not a whole lot of weaknesses, really good on road courses, among the best on road courses. Pretty good on short flat tracks. For a long time was the cream of the crop. Seemed to regress a little in that regard. If he does have any weaknesses, it's probably super speedways.
Better than it looks at super speedways, I'd say. Had some wrecks this year, but the last few years, he's actually surprisingly finished top 10 a lot.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean,
it was everyone's pick last year to win the championship. I think maybe he'll cool off a little bit. I mean, God, he started off the season with 3 straight wins last season. Then we didn't really hear from him much again until the end of the year. But
another guy that suffered a bit of a summer slump. And not even bad finishes, running bad. Mm-hmm. Definitely can't have that this year. I just think the field has caught up to Christopher Bell a little bit. He was so much better than the field at a couple different tracks in 23, 24. And last year he jumped out really quick and won a couple quick races, but wasn't able to maintain that consistency. Seemed like he regressed a little last year, and I don't know. Do you think he can get that form back this year?
Yeah, and I don't 2 of those 3 races weren't super crazy impressive or anything. of
Yeah,
those
just kind of
limbs.
right place,
Like,
right time. And you
I
look,
mean, the lead laps at the intermediate tracks is a concern.
yeah, you look at lead and fast laps versus what we just saw with William Byron. Clear difference between those two. Yeah, I just think it seems like the field. I don't think Christopher Bell's gotten any worse. I just think the field has closed the gap on the things that Christopher Bell's really good at. And for that reason, I'm tempted.
From
I think
between
I even
Blaney
put
and
him.
Elliott,
Yeah, I think he's
that's
down at
exactly what I
the.
was thinking. That's perfect.
Yeah, I think that's where he ends up. That being said, Bell at his best, I think, is one of the best in the series, if not the best of the series. It's just a matter if he can put a full season of that together.
Yeah, we kind of need to see more belt to ass at the short flat tracks.
Yeah.
We saw it early on, but pretty disappointing.
Yeah, I mean,
from Iowa to Phoenix there.
this Loudon for Christopher Bell just isn't acceptable.
Yeah, that's not.
He is.
If that's going to continue, there's no way you can put him at the top of S.
We might have to reassign one of these S tiers to A tier because we're going to be a little top heavy here.
Yeah.
But we'll look at that at the end because next up, I think, is Dennis Hamlin.
Yep. You're, I don't care. He's your championship winner last year. Fuck the official winner. We all know he was the winner.
And my hot take, a contender to win most popular driver this year. I think the lawsuit.
My God. That would break like some historic streak around where we've had exactly three most popular driver award winners since I was born in like 1990.
Yeah, all of which have the last name Earnhardt or Elliott.
Yep.
So yeah, regardless, we'll talk about his performance. Obviously, lawsuit over, won the lawsuit, had a very rough offseason, just tragedy around his family. But he seems to be in an okay place now. One of the most elite drivers in the sport, one of the greatest of all time. And you just look at his intermediate tracks, like unbelievable.
That leaps off the page.
Unbelievable. At a certain time was the odds-on favorite to win every super speedway. That has regressed a little bit in the next gen, but he's still capable there.
He's still the favorite right now for his duel. And I think the 500, it's either him or Blaney.
It might be actually Cindric when I was looking the other day, but
oh wow.
His short track isn't as bad as it. I mean, you look at like very capable of dominating short flat tracks. If he has a weakness, it's road courses. You talk about Byron, Briscoe, Bell. These guys are all very capable of winning races on road courses. Hamlin didn't even bother going to Mexico last year because like he's just not a road course guy. So that's going to be his biggest issue, I think.
And he's a little old to be like locking in the sim and all that. Like, you know, he's still a bright guy and all that, but you know, he's busy podcasting and stuff, you know? So, I mean, he'll, of course, you know, in the garage, they're going to have to put that concerted effort towards road courses in there. But at the end of the day, he's not really biggest road course guy. He needs to get finishes at super speedways.
Yeah. Finishes on super speedways
for years now.
And
that's
where you
look, actually bite him.
You look at Byron, you look at Briscoe, and you look at Bell, and even Chase Elliott to a lesser extent. Those guys probably aren't going to have to take a mulligan on road courses. Chances are Hamlin's going to have to take a mulligan or two on a road course, which makes me a little more bearish on him from a season-long perspective. But he certainly makes up for that in his intermediate ability.
Yeah, and that's the real meat and potatoes of the series. So I think you got to slide Hamlin all the way up to the top still.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, over Byron.
Yeah.
Just Byron 1v1, I'm going Hamlin.
Yeah.
But I think Hamlin, Byron, and Briscoe and Blaney are all almost like dead even.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's put him there for right now. My biggest concern with him is the road courses. But luckily for him, he just needs to make it to the chase in the kind of top 3 or 4. Because there's no road courses in the chase.
Yep.
So
it's perfect for him.
So it works out really well. So yeah, that's probably the right place for him is right there. Which brings us to
Kyle
defending champion. Oh. Ironically, because it was probably statistically his worst season in a Hendrick car. But alas, he still is the champion. This format does Kyle Larson no favors.
No, kind of does him dirty.
He is not the picture of consistency. He's 110%. He wrecks a lot of gear. He runs into the wall a lot. When Kyle Larson is not in the wall or making a mistake, he is the most talented driver in the series.
Mm-hmm.
That is for sure.
He gets so many lead laps, but they're so concentrated into specific races, mostly Bristol.
Yeah, when he's the fastest, he's the fastest. Like
Yeah.
he dominates
Nothing
races.
he can do. I would like to see him do better at short flat tracks.
Which is crazy to say because he still runs in the top 10 no matter what. Super speedways for a long time was a weakness. He's improved there.
Mm-hmm.
Had a rough go on road courses last year, but we know he's capable on road courses. But yeah, I just don't think this format does him any favor. He's going to win races. No. He's probably going to win 4 or 5 races, but he's also going to DNF.
Yeah.
He's going to DNF. Like that's just the reality with Kyle Larson. The one thing I don't think we know is like we've never seen Larson in a format that rewards consistency. Does he have it in it to adjust his driving style? I don't know.
That's what it comes down to with a lot of these more aggressive drivers, your Chastains, Hosevars, etc. Like, how many of these guys are going to lock in? They all could across the board, and we see the racing change significantly, or it could just be more of the same. It's really just conjecture. I don't know. You don't know. None of us know, but we know that Larson is a bit on the older side compared to like your Hosevars of the world, your Gibbs of the world, even like him. Very similar to like Chastain, where I think he's certainly capable of locking in. So
he's definitely.
I would probably put him like. I don't know.
He's above Blaney. He's above Briscoe.
Yeah. Right there with Byron. Above Byron, probably.
Yeah, I think this is probably the right order. And, like, honestly, you can do these 3 in any order.
You can do those 5 in any order.
But I think this is where I'm most comfortable. And I also think we need to bump one of these guys down. Yeah. Just for the symmetry of the list. And it's either Bell or Elliott has to go down to A tier.
It's probably both.
I think we put Bell. I think Bell goes in here.
Yeah. I mean, Elliott just a format merchant.
Yeah, the format rewards Elliott more than it does Bell.
Yep.
So I think this is where we end up. But yeah, it's also, but the symmetry of this tier list I like. So we'll leave it like that, which I guess means Hamlin is our favorite to win the championship, which is probably fair.
Yeah. But is he your pick to win the championship? I think
no.
It's who everyone wants.
No.
He's just out of respect for his form and everything. We've kind of had to put him there. I have Briscoe. I think he's got the highest upside of anyone.
Yeah, I think the champion comes from here. I think Byron has a really good shot because he's so consistent. He's
Byron's
no weaknesses.
Peak age too.
Yeah, he's definitely hit his peak. Elliott's got a championship. Larson has his championship. I think Byron's in a really good spot. I think Briscoe's in a really good spot. I think Blaney needs to be a little more consistent and a little less DNF-y. I think Elliott needs to start winning races. Larson's got too much DNF in him, makes too many mistakes. And then Hamlin, his big weakness is road courses. I think Byron doesn't have that same weakness. So, yeah, I think Byron would be my pick to win the championship.
Yeah. I think Byron and Hamlin pretty high floor of like guys to make like the very finals.
Yeah.
But I think the highest upside is probably Briscoe. Like if anyone's gonna have like an insane like 2019 Kevin Harvick kind of year, I think it would come from Briscoe. Because everyone else we kind of already know what to make of them. Briscoe's kind of more of like the wild card in this S tier.
Let me see if I can bring up. These are going to be decimal odds. I apologize, but
no, never apologize for decimal odds. They're superior.
Larson the favorite at plus 450. Hamlin plus 550. Byron plus 600. Chase Briscoe still available at plus 900, which I think is interesting. Yeah, I mean this is
probably letting your money sit on the books like this for so long. You may as well like cash it or something and get a little dividend.
Yeah, maybe there's some value on a guy like Bubba Wallace at plus 4,500. I don't think Bubba Wallace can win the championship, but that's probably long compared to Tyler Reddick at plus 1,400.
How do I short Kyle Busch with these odds?
Yeah, you would need a significant uptick in performance. I'd also like to
Yeesh.
short Connor Zilic at plus 2,000.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
But yeah, that's probably what our tier list just about looks like. And like I said, you can mix these top four in just about any order.
Mhm.
But let's leave it like that. Screenshot that. That is your 2026 driver preview. Talked about every single driver. They also have. I'm looking at this tier list. They have all the Cup Series and the Xfinity guys in here too, which I wasn't expecting. So maybe at some point we need to do a Xfinity and a Truck Series tier list as well.
Oh yeah,
Show my guy
S tier.
Yeah, definitely from a DFS perspective. Look at all the guys that are in the 88 this year: Caruth, Larson, Elliott, Bowman, Byron.
They're prepared for that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know Earnhardt's gonna make that spot start. So there's another.
Yeah, this is a great tier list. Shout out whoever made this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, here's the Cup Series tier list. Still a lot going on today. We're gonna do maybe a combo duel, Daytona duel / DF's Domination Station setup stream, probably towards 5 p.m. Eastern, so about 2 hours from now. And then we'll do Truck Series podcast tomorrow. We'll do some Xfinity, or I guess O'Reilly series on Saturday. And then hopefully we'll have the big guy Geek back with us on Sunday to do a Daytona 500 stream. Until then, I'm Brady and he's Taco. This is our 2026 NASCAR driver tier list. We'll see you in a couple hours.
Yep. Let's circle back around here, get some lunch, go do what we go and do, and then let's win some more money. It's been a great off season, great clash. Let's keep it rolling.
Now is the time to make some money. We will talk to you in a few hours on the dual preview stream. Until then, Taco, say the line.
Helmets up, baby.